When is the coolest new knife of the week not actually a knife? Stick around and find out. David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and I do have the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves right here in front of me. So let's check them out. All right, starting things off this week, we have an actual knife. It's a good thing.
The name of the show.
It is the name of the show. It is a restock of our exclusive Chop 2 from North Mountain Blade. A very cool Tonto bladed button lock flipper coming in at $100. And for that, you get some really nice features. G10, just maybe not standout feature at $100, but it is a nice G10 with a fluted milling on it. But the blade is really the star of the show here. It is an SLD Magic blade with laminated construction, or sanmai, or sanmei, or sanmai. My pronunciations are getting a little off the rails because I've been corrected in a number of different ways, and I almost don't know what reality is anymore. It is that style of blade, which is to say you have a center core of one steel and outer cladding layers on either side of a different steel. In this case, the core is a high hardness tool steel, non-stainless, and then the outer layers are a stainless steel. So you get really nice stable edge retention at the edge itself with a degree of toughness thanks to the tool steel there, and then some stainless protection on the outside. Plus you get this cool look as well. I know it is not a Hmong. Some people are saying that's a Hmong. A Hmong comes from when you heat treat a single type of steel, usually it's not triple laminated like this, and you cover the spine up in clay while the rest heats up. So when you cool it, it creates that Hmong type look. Once the clay is knocked away, of course. This is not a Hmong.
Hmong no more.
I'm getting salty already. This is not a good sign. Back to the knife. It's a button lock flipper. Sorry. The action is good. Check it out, really nice. You've got a brass 45 thumb disc there at the spine, offering ambidextrous opening there. A little hint of brass ring around the button as well, which is a nice subtle touch, but a nice subtle touch that is also nice. We're off to a great start, aren't we?
Yeah, this will be a fun edit.
Sort of a dark stone washed of the same color here at the backspacer. Words. Three methods of opening, or multiple, but three deployment options. You've got the button lock, which offers you finger safe closing action and wrist flickability. You have, of course, the flipper tab as previously mentioned, and as also previously mentioned, you have the thumb plate offering you, or thumb disc offering you thumb opening. Also works great at, I promise, the reverse flick right there. Check it out. It's very cool, and especially at $100, it's very nice. If you're not a huge fan of this color combination, other options of the Chop 2 are available at the same price, or above, or less, depending on which handle version you choose. Check them out. Next up, probably in the world of pocket knives, it is perhaps well known, perhaps not to some, that Victorinox, the makers of the Swiss Army knife, pretty much single-handedly outsell the rest of the everyday carry pocket knife market all by themselves. So when they come out with a new model, which doesn't happen too often, it's pretty big news, which means this is probably the biggest news of the week, perhaps. We actually have new Swiss Army knife models. The first, kind of new, actually. So we've seen the companion before on some more fancy versions, some different art, color graphics, etc. But this is the first time you can get the new version of the Swiss Army Companion in standard red Celador handles at the base price of $48 right now. And this is an excellent everyday carry tool set, I would say, for general purpose stuff, for just most average people. And I know that, don't take that as a demeaning term, but for many folks, I think the Companion could be a really solid option. You have, of course, the main blade. Opposite that, you have a nail file instead of the way most of this size Swiss Army knives do it, another smaller pen blade right here. I really like the file. Longtime viewers of this channel know I like the EvoGrip S18 from their lineup, primarily because it has the tools I want, but also has the file on it. So this would be a good option for me if I were looking to replace my S18 with something a little bit slimmer. In addition to that, you have the scissors, and Victorinox's scissors work great in terms of like mini scissors, some of the best out there. You've also got the cap lifter here at the one side with the screwdriver function built in and the wire stripper. I'm not gonna get to the opposite side just yet. Let me show you the back real quick. You've got the screwdriver, or sorry, yeah, not the screwdriver, corkscrew right here.
Screw of a different type.
Screw of a different type, that's true. And this can hold things like the small eyeglass screwdriver or the tinder or the fire ant fire starters and some other things too. You've also got the plus scales, meaning in addition to toothpick and tweezers, you've got a pressurized ballpoint pen, which is nice. It doesn't come with the little pin here at the back. You will need to supply one of those if you want it. You got the parcel hook and you've got the awl also at the back. But the neat twist that was debuted on the previous versions of the companion is this new box opener right here. It takes the place of where normally would be a can opener and instead keeps the tip the same, but gives you a small bladed implement right there with a bit of a point or almost a hook-like section right there and tiny serrations. Really handy. I've already actually used one of these, trying to kind of experimenting out in different situations. It's great for trimming rope and string, not thick rope, string on a pull stroke especially. And it's really nice for getting into like blister packaged retail packaging. You can just really get in there very precisely with the tip, score around the sides, prise something loose. It's quite nice. And the tip is the same as the can opener, which means you got small flat head and the ability for this to flex into some Phillips head rolls as well. Number 2 especially is kind of about the size you'll be able to affect with this. A very cool thing. $48 for that. They have also expanded the usage of the term companion to include their much talked about for a bit over a year now, the new non-knife bladed Swiss Army knives. We have entered the era. I know some people are going to hate these things due to the fact that they don't have a knife blade on them. That is certainly your prerogative, your right to do so. I kind of like them. In fact, I have already bought myself one of the companion slim models right here because it had a really nice use in a kit I was building that I didn't need an extra blade in already anyway. Usually I have another primary folder anyway, so the loss of the blade doesn't affect me too much, and if it affects you, there are plenty of other options, which is quite nice. The companion slim in silver, red, I'll show you the other colors, or gold A-locks. All 3 of these models will be available in all 3 colors. Companion Slim, $45. It has the pair of scissors, so you still can cut right there. You have the cap lifter right there. Nice half stop on that too if you need a little extra torque. And you've got that package opener that we already talked about. It's a pretty well-rounded set of tools. Now I will say with the, this box opener right here, if you're trying to take this, or if you're looking for something to take potentially through something like TSA security onto an airplane, I wouldn't trust this to make it through. One of these other options, however, might be a good thing for you. But that's the Companion Slim. I kind of wish they didn't call all of these things Companion, quite honestly, because it's going to get hard to remember the names, and they might stand more on their own with distinct names. But this is the Companion X, and Swiss Army knife fans will know that when they have taken a previous model and added X to it, it means they've added scissors, like the Farmer X or the Pioneer X takes that model and adds scissors. So this is the Companion with just scissors. $32 for these. And if you're in the market for just like a mini pair of scissors, if that's what you're looking for, honestly, this is quickly rising to like the top of the list of things to consider because these Victorinox scissors, they really do cut way better than they have any right to, which is a really nice thing indeed if that's all you're looking for, is a pair of mini scissors. We've also got the Companion S at $34, actually $2 more than the larger single scissor model. And this could have been called the Jet Setter A-locks because it has the same 2 main implements as the Jet Setter. It's just A-locks handles instead of the version with the toothpick and tweezers in it. But the 2 tools you get the small pair of scissors right there, and you get their combination tool that has a small Phillips driver at the front, wire stripper notch, and the bottle opener right there, all in a very slim keychainable package right there. Nice option. Either of these two, the scissors model, the Companion X, so you got to remember the names.
How many companions before it's a crowd?
It's feeling a bit crowded, I gotta be honest. I enjoy these. I have purchased, you know, like I said, I picked one up myself, but come on, names could be better maybe. Anyway, that's the biggest news of the new knives of the week. It's not knives.
Because we can't call them Swiss Army knives anymore.
Yeah, you know, it's hard. What else are you gonna do though? Like
Swiss Army tool?
It's a Swiss Army thing.
It's a SAT.
Yeah, there you go. Next up, we have a knife, but there's no steel in this knife. Thing actually. The Terrain 365 Compact Dog Tag. It's $189, so yes, it is expensive for the small size, but what you get here is a highly advanced blade material, Terravantium, which is a dendritic cobalt. It's not steel, and it should hold an edge a very long time, especially at the very high hardness that this particular implement is. Very, very cool stuff. The handle itself is titanium, and the hardware, I believe, is also titanium. I'm not getting any magnetic pull off of any of the hardware anywhere on this knife. So this is a steelless knife.
Breaking all the rules today.
Breaking all the rules. Yes, indeed we are. We still do have a frame lock, however. That's, you know, doesn't break a rule so much, I guess. Folds into that dog tag shape. You've got sort of a topographic etched pattern here, giving you a little bit of traction on the matte finished titanium. You can one hand open it. It's a little tricky to do so, yeah, or a little deliberate, I would say, but two-hand opening, of course, works quite nicely. Great little utility knife for day-to-day stuff, opening packages and boxes, that sort of thing. I wouldn't go out bushcrafting with it, although, yeah, could be fun. Could be a fun exercise, maybe. Next up, we have from QSP, the Glyde Lock Penguins are in stock. Here are just two of them. And yes, they are available also in a non-black coated blade. I just happened to pick two black coated versions right here. Prices on them, we'll start with the this injection molded version right here, $49. 3.06 inch 14C28 and blade steel. That's a great stainless steel, especially on more affordable stuff. Holds an edge pretty well, which of course you want, but it's also stainless and very, very tough. So you can really work a knife hard without fear of really breaking it. To oversimplify what toughness means anyway, it's a nice choice for that sort of thing though, for sure. And then another kind of great, you know, utility knife replacement. You got more length than the Terrain 365 here, but you still got that very usable and acute tip on this this sort of sheep's foot style blade right here. It's a sheep's foot with more of a tip than most sheep's foots typically come with, but still.
Yeah, typically.
Typically, yeah, I get it. Very nice. Anyway, injection molded handles, a little bit of contour, which is nice as opposed to just being flat handled. Reversible deep carry pocket clip, maintaining this or keeping this knife fully usable with the left or the right hand, thanks of course to, as I fumble it because I'm not left-handed, that ambidextrous crossbar lock there, which they call the Glyde lock. It's got really nice covers on the ends of the crossbar right there, giving you injection molded traction points on that as well. Very easy to use, very easy to get a full grip on, even though it is a smaller knife. And I do have slightly larger than average hands. The straight nature of the handle means it can be pressed into those bigger cuts when needed. Even cooler than the injection molded version though, is this aluminum foil G10. How cool is that?
You can make a hat out of that.
Make a lot of stuff out of that. I want to make a lot of stuff out of that. Anyway, it's very cool. It's the same knife, it just is a different material. It still has the contour on it too. It's not just because they had to mill this as opposed to injection molding it. They didn't get rid of the contour to simplify production. It is still a contoured handle there. Very, very nice. Let's keep the sheep's foot train rolling with new K-bar fixed blades. This is a Les George design. There are 3 blade shapes. You've got a sheep's foot, you've got a drop point, and I won't talk about the reverse tanto.
I will.
But we have a reverse tanto. This knife has a real cool name. That's it, in fact. It's the K-bar cool name, designed by Les George. Something about that just really, really appeals to me, that they're like, yeah, cool name, that's it. Yes, I like that a lot. Anyway, US made, $137 for each of these. You've got a transparent honeycomb polycarbonate handle right here. Looks very cool and very distinctive, of course, and the contouring on it is expertly done as well. Just feels really nice in the palm of my hand. You do have some jimping here on the where your pinky or maybe even ring finger might sit, and that kind of, I can feel that a little bit when I'm kind of like really gripping the knife hard. Jury's still out on how that's going to feel under hard work. You could have of course, wear some gloves if you're worried about that, but really excellent shape. Big utilitarian shape on the blade with this 4 5/8 of an inch. K-bar is classic 1095 Crovan steel, about 3/16 of an inch thick. If you want a more versatile blade, we've got the drop point as well. It's a little bit shorter, 4 1/4 inch. Little bit of a less of a specialized shape than the sheep's foot, hence more adaptable, better for hunting and skinning, of course, as well. But it's just a classic drop point. Good jimping there at the back, enough of a finger guard there to give you really nice protection. Yeah. And then you've got the reverse tanto. They even call it a reverse tanto instead of like a modified Warncliffe or anything like that.
Good job.
4 5/8 on this as well, though it looks just a skosh shorter than the sheep's foot right there. Interestingly, if you hold this upside down, that looks more like a reverse tanto to me.
Like I said, reverse tanto's inclusive.
He just likes pushing my buttons.
I can't help but notice you said you weren't going to talk about it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of my job, so I kind of have to, don't I?
All this is going in.
That's fine. The sheath is actually really nicely done. I think, actually, can this go in either way? No, it only goes in that way. All right. It only goes in one way, and unfortunately, you do have to supply your own belt attachment here, but due to the nature of the holes, the slots, these split rings almost, these split slots, one of the most versatile factory sheath mounting or sheath options I have ever seen. You've got the ability to use something like a tech lock or an ulti clip, or because the way these slots come through, you could very easily thread something through, even if it's not captive, or even if it's captive on each end and you can't like unthread a strap, you could wrap things through like there, which is really cool. The material is Kelson? CELCON?
Sounds like a Star Trek word.
Something like that. I'm unfamiliar with it, but it is hard. Feels injection molded. It probably is, yep. I think I see a seam, yep. And clicks in much like Kydex. Pretty cool.
From the future.
From the future, if and you want to. All right. For those of you who may be new to this channel, Thomas and I have a running rivalry where he pokes fun at me for being slightly miffed by the nomenclature reverse tanto, because I think sometimes it's, it's just a thing to say.
I think they picked up on that code in the last segment.
So I'm gonna lean into that ridiculousness for the rest of the video, and I apologize in advance. This is the ZT512 BLK, the blacked out version of this, coming in at $320. About a 3.5 inch crew wear blade, and I'd describe that as a reverse Warncliffe shape.
You're loud.
Nice and tough, that crew wear steel, which is quite nice, especially when you have an acute tip, much like many reverse Warncliffes will have. Keeps the strength there at that tip to keep it hopefully from snapping off under rougher use. But because of the toughness of steel as well, they don't have to go as thick to maintain a lot of strength in the blade. So you've still got very slicey geometry overall. Black aluminum, no, yeah, titanium for the back, sorry, and black micarta at the front. This is sort of toning down the previous version of this knife that had a gray blade and like a Carhartt brown handle, basically. But this is also, if I hadn't mentioned it yet, an automatic knife with great push-button automatic knife action. And a cool blade shape, no matter what you want to call it. Deep carry pocket clip, which is reversible. Just a solid US-made American work knife right here that just happens to be a switchblade, which is a really cool thing indeed. $320 for that. The sister brand, or I guess actually the parent company of ZT, is Kershaw, which parent company of Kershaw is Kai, but we're not going to get into that.
Quite the family tree.
ZT is an offshoot of Kershaw, a more premium offshoot of Kershaw, but Kershaw makes some of the best bargains in automatic knives out there. And their launch Iridium is one of the best options for everyday carry in the launch lineup. They took their popular Iridium folder, which is an import with a crossbar lock, and brought it back to the US with the automatic knife action here as well. And in contrast to the ZT, which got less colorful, this version got more colorful than the original version of the launch Iridium. We now have blue aluminum for the handles. Magna cut blade, 3.5 inches long, spear point shape, drop point shape. $168 right here. We've also got a reversible fold over pocket clip, backspacer there with an integrated lanyard point. Nice action as well. It's pretty much the same mechanism that the ZT is using, quite honestly. So if you're going for, edge to dollar ratio, you actually get a little bit more, is it more edge? It's about the same. You definitely get more, I feel like, for your money with the launch. It just doesn't feel quite as robust in more extreme scenarios, but it's certainly going to be tough enough for daily stuff. And Magna cut steel, of course, being as tough as it is for a stainless steel while maintaining high degrees of edge retention is a phenomenal choice as well. Nice. Next, we have a new version of the Benchmade 710. $450 with a 4-inch M390 blade. I'm trying to think what the reverse blade shape would be.
It's a minimized buoy.
Not going to bother with this one. We've got a recurved drop point shape here. M390 steel, stone washed finish. That stone wash is going to hide scratches as you use the knife, of course, which is quite nice. Keeps it looking better longer. Aluminum handles with machining, gold colored accents on the deep carry pocket clip and the pivot collar. Anything else? Yep, and the barrel spacers right there. You've got an improved version of their axis lock, which the axis lock originally debuted on this knife, and that is the knife. This is the design that introduced the crossbar lock to the world as the axis lock, of course. So it's cool to see them having brought back this design. I guess it was last year when it first debuted, and some new versions continuing to roll out. When I say an improved version of it, instead of a standard Omega spring, there's actually flat springs on the inside of here, which are supposed to last longer and be more durable than your standard wire Omega spring. So that's pretty cool. Feels plenty good in the hand. You've got plenty of length. It's definitely a design that leans more tactical, I would say, although there's probably more folks using this just in a day-to-day big knife basis than anything else. The recurve might be a little more tricky to sharpen for beginners, but I doubt beginners are looking to spend $450 on a pocket knife anyway. But that recurve does add some extra sharpened length in that 4-inch blade size and some extra shearing power on the pull cut especially. Next up, we have the ACE Sonoma from GiantMouse, the Sonoma V2 Titanium Blackout Edition that just dropped, I guess it was the end of last week. This knife runs about $295. You've got a nice narrow tapering blade here, 3.4 inches L-Max steel. Not super thin, but plenty thin enough with its full flat grind, and you got a crowned spine for nice comfort up there as well. I love nimble drop point shapes, reverse Warncliffe shapes like this. I think they are very useful and perhaps underrated in a world where we all like wider drop points like this, which are certainly quite nice. This is a shape that doesn't get as much love as maybe it should, or at least as much as I think it should. So it's cool to see a model like the Sonoma continuing to carry the torch. The handle itself, titanium, nice contour, feels very good and very nimble in the hand. Yeah, I like it a lot. Reversible wire pocket clip, not completely deep carry, but very nice looking from the outside. Inset liner lock and ball bearings in the pivot with just the flipper tab for opening. But man, doesn't that sound great? Oh, that sounds really good, actually. Yeah, it has the bones to be quote unquote overbuilt. This is a strong feeling knife, but it doesn't need to brag about it with a big broad shape. it maintains a little more subtlety in its power. At least that's the way my takeaway with that particular knife. QSP, several knives here. We have got the Reptile with their glide lock or crossbar lock, also with a reverse Wharncliffe blade, as you can see right there. Very reverse Wharncliffe. $79 for this series. You have an aluminum handle. This one is green, and a 14C28N blade, about 3.35 inches long. Full flat grind with a swedge. Nice cutting geometry overall. It feels pretty good in the hand. The texture on the aluminum is not too slick. That's always something I'm paying attention to on aluminum handles, because sometimes they can get that way. Anything else aluminum here? Yeah, that's not the case with the launch either. It's not a slick aluminum. All right, now we can continue. Yeah, it's nice. You've got that very acute tip on that reverse Wharncliffe blade. Good cutting geometry, good steel selection, good action with the crossbar lock right there. Nice thumb stud action as well. A reversible tail-mounted pocket clip, making it a very deep carry option and a very good option for righties or lefties, of course, as well, with a broad range of colors to choose from. How broad is the range, you ask? We have 6 different versions right now. There's black, and there's kind of a gold color as well. You can get each with a black or not black blade. There you go. Next up from QSP, we have got the Dolphin, a few new versions of this, and it is a very graceful shape. Almost looks like a dolphin, leaping over the top of the water there. And as such, I definitely had to show you the blue resin version here. It looks a lot like Kieranite, looks a lot like ocean waves, which is pretty cool. The whole knife itself is really, really highly refined. Everything is highly polished, including the blade, which I'm sure Thomas likes. If you've ever wanted to know what Thomas looks like, maybe we can...
Still can't see from there.
Maybe something like that. Are we getting something? Maybe? Who knows?
No, you're aiming at the other camera.
Am I? Well, no, it's like... Well, none of that can go in, can it? You're going to leave it in. Polished blade, polished edges to the stainless steel here, frame lock. Sort of a reverse Kershaw leak blade, which is kind of a modified Wharncliffe to begin with. So it's a drop point blade. 3.15, 14C28N again, highly, highly polished, really nice looking. Lanyard attachment point here at the back, which also acts as the big backspacer at the end, and they do give you a wrench that will unscrew this if you're looking to disassemble. Lockup feels good. The whole thing is really graceful, man. Really nice snappy action, ball bearings in the pivot there. This kind of reminds me of like Sardinian knives almost. Those kind of knives that have like this kind of tail feature on them. Good blend of working capability and just classy looks, don't you think? So several versions of this knife are available. They start at $80 and go up from there, between 80 and 95, depending on which version. At least that's what we've got right now. Next up, one more from QSP. They've actually done over the years a number of really nice slip joints. Non-locking knives that we've not really covered as much as maybe we should. So we'll try to correct that. This is the Jumping Jack slip joint, $89, 2 3/4 inch blade, 14C28N steel. Hey, I just noticed a detail.
Good job.
Look on the back here. We have the Finch Knife Company logo on the back, which means that this is a collaboration between QSP and Finch. Finch Knife Company's releases are usually locking knives, and they have this vibe, however, of being old school inspired, but with modern, locking and modern opening types of actions. So that's a pretty cool team up right here. I like that. I wish I'd known that. I could have prepared a little more. Observant, aren't I?
I'm prepared.
I'm prepared. The blade is really nice. You've got a horizontal grain, giving it that hand-rubbed, almost hand-finished or custom vibe to it, despite the $89 price tag to it. Screw-together construction, blue bone covers for this one, but there are a few different options available. Really smooth backspacer there. Nothing's proud or sticking up. It's just perfectly smooth. Nice walk and talk. A little bit on the heavier side for folks who like that. You definitely have that resounding feel right there. How nice is that? Really, really nicely done. Lots of good companies out there doing this blend of like really highly refined sub $100 slip joints. Rosecraft comes to mind, especially the new Gateway series stuff from Jack Wolf as well. It's right up there with that stuff. Really, really nicely done. All right, one more folder, then we got a couple fixed blades. First, we have the Guile from CIVIVI. This didn't make the video last week, but this was designed by the actor Shawn Ashmore. You may know him from, he was Iceman in the X-Men films. That's where I recognize him from. And sadly, I don't get to watch nearly as many movies as I used to, so I'm not as up if he has some more current roles that are more appropriate for pop culture. I do apologize. Anything?
X-Men was pretty big.
X-Men was pretty big. It's cool. It's a reverse Puko blade, $59 and a half, 3¼ inch long on the blade, 14C28N steel. This is a true Wharncliffe, actually. You've got completely straight edge, tapering all the way down, but with a little bit of extra vibe on the spine to give it a little bit more character. Really nicely done. And again, kind of like the GiantMouse, you've got this narrow, agile, precise blade. Still plenty strong for anything you're going to use an everyday carry pocket knife for, with the advantage of that maneuverability. Quite nice. This version has Ivory G10. Other flavors are available. Reversible deep carry clip, liner lock with ball bearings in the pivot, 2 opening methods, maybe 3, 2.5. I'll tell you what I mean. One, you've got a front flipper, but as we well know, it's established fact, I don't do front flippers anymore.
Sure he doesn't.
You've also got the blade cutout and an extended fuller extending out the front of that blade, or in front of that hole. So you can definitely do the reverse flick with the hole there. Let me see about doing it with the fuller. It's kind of like midway right there. That works. And of course you can just thumb open it if you wish. Cool thing, really nicely done. All right, a couple fixed blades to wind things up. The SRM 702T. Evocatively named from SRM. I already said that. 70 bucks for this sub 4-inch blade. It's about 2.9, 14C28N. A lot of that on the table today. That's an especially great choice for something like this with its Scandi grind. The actual edge, the apex of a Scandi grind is more acute than your typical, typically ground knife, such as, this K-bar or anything else. So having a tough steel to support that thinner edge right there is always a nice thing. If you're unfamiliar with Scandi grinds, it's basically a chisel from each side. It meets in the middle instead of off to one side of the flat. It is a really great grind for working with wood especially, and this one is thin enough at about, oh come on, what are we dealing with here? I'm not even going to attempt. 0.12, so it's almost 1/8 of an inch thick. It really doesn't look quite that thick. Anyway, even if it were a full 1/8 inch thick, this is a thin enough blade stock that the Scandi grind doesn't hold it back when you need to do like finer slicing stuff. Sometimes when a Scandi ground blade is really thick, it starts to feel only like it excels at wood carving. If you want to do anything else, food prep, slicing, general utilitarian tasks, the shoulders kind of get in the way a little bit. I say all of that to tell you that this thing is actually very good, or should be very good at those sort of things because it's nice and thin. There we go. Canvas micarta handles. There's blue and another color, green, also available. Crowned spine, which extends here at the back for a protruding tang, giving you a scraping point. But here is the perhaps controversial choice for this knife, which is very much aimed at the bushcraft market. You have a crowned spine on this blade going all the way around. That crowned spine makes it very comfortable to hold when you're getting up there and doing heavier wood carving stuff. It does, however, preclude its utility in uses such as scraping a fire steel, which a lot of bushcraft crowd people, of which I count myself amongst them, look for that sort of feature. Personally, I've been leaning maybe a little bit away from sharpened or crisp spines myself. I like the comfort when actually using it, and I'm likely going to have a separate striker with me already anyway, so I won't have to rely on the spine of my knife. Your mileage may vary. choose what you wish. As far as ergonomics, it feels pretty good in the hand without being too, too bulky. Some folks may prefer a larger feeling handle if you're going to be doing a lot of wood carving, but again, your mileage may vary depending on your hand size. Screw together construction with some pass-throughs there so you can get a lanyard at the front or the back. And you've got a Kydex sheath with nice feeling retention and the ability, you do have to loosen it, I haven't done that yet. You've got a belt loop here at the back with a J-hook at the bottom so it doesn't fall off your belt when you want it to stay put, but makes it easy to remove when you want it to be removed. And you can rotate this for horizontal or vertical carry. This is a lot of really premium and nice feeling design for 70 bucks. And last but certainly not least, we have a Julio Diaz design from Condor Knife and Tool. This is the Hmong.
It's dinner time.
$131 and some change for this machete. It is a 12-inch machete, which makes it versatile as heck. It's a good enough size to get vegetation work done, especially for a survival machete. If it's going to be something you're taking out on adventure, I really enjoy this kind of size, but it's not so big that it's going to get in the way and be difficult to carry. So it's a good compromise overall. 1075 carbon steel for a very tough blade, kept on the thinner side, which again reduces weight, makes it easier to carry, allows your velocity to be higher when you're swinging through, giving more power on the cut, and you got a little more weight at the tip as well because of the wider profile here. Don't mistake this for a heavy chopper though. Even with that, it is certainly not. This is more a thin, high-speed vegetal or grass machete, shall we say. Natural micarta for the handles, flare at the back, giving you plenty of retention when you're swinging that knife hard. A little bit of a finger guard right there. I might actually soften that up just a little bit if I were to carry one of these. Now the price on this is a little bit higher than you might expect for a 1075 Condor machete. One, the micarta adds a little bit of cost, but the sheath here, there's cost in that sheath. This is a really nice design. It looks great, certainly. Leather, you've got the ability to carry it on a belt, which is handy. You've also got, even more handy perhaps, the leather flap right here. And the advantage or the utility of that is that allows you to slide it inside your belt. That will kind of keep it from sliding all the way through your belt and then makes it very easy. You can take the whole package off of your belt when you're ready to use it. You can rotate it around, put it in different places as you're moving through different terrain or what have you, or if you're like me, you don't move through nearly as much terrain as I once did when I'm getting up and getting down from the campfire or heading over to the car or doing whatever. It's a nice to be able to move that sheath around when you need it. Hmong. I like the name, I like the shape. Anyway, and I like the sheath. That is all we have for today, folks. I know this was a long one. Thanks for sticking around. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any comments on the knives or not knives shown today, leave those in the comments as well. And if you want to get your hands on any of these knives or not knives, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program or the ability to break some of these more expensive knives into more manageable payment chunks with our Sezzle options at checkout. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.